Hey guys, welcome back to the biggest agricultural platform in Namibia known as Nduna Wengombe, which means headman of cattle. My name, of course, Mitchell Mutumba Simata, aka the headman of cattle. So, this is a late video. I was supposed to shoot this on Wednesday, but I was a bit busy, so I'm shooting it on a Saturday. So, you guys will get it on a Saturday. Right, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I recall this conversation we had. He was talking about, look, Mitchell, I bought some bull goats from a farmer, big breeder, and the goats arrived. The bucks, male goats, which are bucks, not rams, they arrived on my farm, and those goats died. And this breed of goat is not good. So then I told the gentleman, to say a breed of animal is not good is wrong. Every breed of goat or cattle or sheep or chicken is good. It depends. Did you do your due diligence? Then he asked me, what do you mean due diligence? Then I told him, listen, farms differ from place to place. Conditions differ from place to place. If you are buying an animal from a place, from a region of the country where this animal has probably never been exposed to external parasites, things like ticks and so forth, it has always been exposed to internal parasites. And you take this animal from an area where it was exposed to internal parasites, and the previous owner always used to do maintenance on the internal parasites, but never did for external. And you take it to a place where there are ticks and so for the various ticks you get. That's external parasites, and this animal gets weak and starts dying. These are things you must take into consideration when you purchase livestock. The second thing I told this guy was, listen, leadership, you must also take into consideration the different grazing conditions. Certain parts of Namibia, there are parts in Namibia where the grazing is quite good. Sweet grass, good quality grazing. And there are parts in Namibia where grazing is not that good. Sour grass, bad quality grazing. Whereby you buy a bull on a farm where it's dry and you take it to your farm or village where it's green, and this animal starts dramatically losing weight. Those are the things that we must take into consideration when purchasing animals. That's what I had to tell him. But I had to go do research. And I stumbled upon an article by Farmers Weekly which says buying in livestock, do your research to prevent problems. This is an article that done, I think it's in the latest one for March. So it starts off by saying, as you guys, from my trusted notebook, it starts off by saying farming conditions in Southern Africa differ tremendously, with grass types, climate, rainfall, temperatures, and so forth being very different from one area to another. These conditions can determine whether livestock parasites such as ticks, flies, and mosquitoes become a problem. For example, ticks, which can carry deadly illnesses such as red heart water and heart water. Red water and heart water, not red heart water, red water and heart water, thrive in most thrive in hot, humid regions. Farmers here Farmers here therefore need to have good animal health regimens such as dipping in place. In addition, their livestock will ideally be adapted to the region, particularly to known parasites. In other in other words, after ongoing infection by parasites over several generations, such animals will have developed a degree of immunity to tick-borne diseases. Indeed, some indigenous livestock breeds such as Nguni cattle and indigenous veld goats and sheep have a high degree of resistance to local livestock diseases. Although not every member of such species will be totally safe at all times from deadly diseases. Protect that Protect that immunity, avoid overusing medication. If you have been farming indigenous breeds in a parasite infested area and haven't suffered serious losses, you should avoid using drugs and preparations that could interfere with the animal's inherent immunity. If, however, you have bought such animals from areas of low parasite infestations and are now running them in risky areas and you notice a sign of serious illnesses, dip the animals and use the appropriate antibiotics. The important thing is never to overuse antibiotics and medications on livestock. This will tend to reduce the natural immunity of the animals. It is not only indigenous breeds that have good natural immunity, even foreign breeds develop high level of immunity. If you want to if you want to Invest in livestock. Make sure you are well informed about the area they come from. Above all, get to know the main livestock diseases in that area. Very important to ask the previous owner or the breeder what are the type of illnesses that are prominent in this area, because I'm taking them to an area where we probably have more tick diseases. Be wary of buying livestock for breeding purpose on auctions. Even if this auction takes place in an area with high parasite loads, not all livestock for sale may come from that area. So always ask where the animals come from. Because if there's an auction being hosted in Zambezi, chances are the animals are even coming from maybe a region like Kavango. So you need to ask questions. They will therefore not have necessary immunity. Also, ask about the vaccination setup of the livestock you intend to buy. Rather purchase animals vaccinated against diseases prevalent in your area. Do you hear? Buy animals that come from similar farming areas as yours. Field type. If the animals go from a sweet field region with high nutritionous grass to an area with low, less nutritionous grass to an area with poor or less nutritionous grass, you may see a decline in their condition at first. In fact, they may take several months to normalize. These animals may need supplements that are scientifically formulated to provide trace elements and compounds such as urea, aid, and gastric functions. Nguni cattle seem to climatize more quickly to rapid environmental changes than beef breeds do. Some breeds can take up to 7 months to adapt. Be on the alert. When buying new livestock, research the diseases they may encounter in their new home, particularly the symptoms of and treatment for such diseases. Make certain you have the right medication in livestock and monitor the animals daily for the first months or two. Be especially vigilant during peak parasite season. This will usually be just after the first rains and during the midsummers. So this information from Farmers Weekly, as I mentioned to my friend, saying, listen, don't just blame a breed of goat. Do research. Always try to buy animals from regions or areas. In Namibia, we call them regions. South Africa, let's say province. From areas which have similar climate conditions as the place you are farming, your farm or your village. Because you will find that if I'm farming in Zambezi, for example, I have my kraal there, my goat kraal, and then I buy goats from Kavango, the conditions are a bit similar. The animal will not really struggle. The animals will not really struggle to adjust. If I buy animals from Grootfontein and I'm farming in Zambezi, those animals will not struggle to adjust. But if I buy a goat, a male goat, a buck from Rehoboth, and I take it to Zambezi, those animals will take time to adjust to the Zambezi conditions, the Zambezi grazing conditions, the Zambezi field areas, and the Zambezi diseases. These are things that will really play a role and will really affect the way I do my goat farming. So that is why I always try and advise my clients that buy from me through my consultancy, Mutumba Trading Consultancy. When they buy bulls and cattle from me, I always advise them, and goats and sheep, I always advise them, try to buy animals which come from a similar condition as the area you're going to farm them in. Because if you don't, you might have to spend more money just trying to make sure that these animals adjust and adapt over time to the kind of conditions you farm in. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say bye for now.